Hey guys, this is Allison from Allykatkreations. How are you? Happy May Day, Bel Tien, for those who celebrate. Please like, share, and subscribe. I made it this month, but now the hunt begins on making sure the bills get paid for next month. So if you have it within you to help me, please do. Very appreciated. Keys of Enoch. Slowly getting through these. Slowly. They're getting there. I did a video, but I'm going to skip 118 because I already covered that in the last episode very thoroughly. This, we're going to do 306, 309, and 319. It's a lot of information, really good information. I did my best to keep it in my own words. Some of it I have to quote because there's just no way you can take the brilliancy of JJ Hertek away. So we're going to get started because this is a lot. So I'm going to start with section 306. This section goes into the resurrection of the dead by claiming that all this life we have is based on a higher code structure. The light codes that we're all receiving, the biochemical codes. We don't die. Our overself, higher self, knows the chemical codes and retransmission for a new physical body on these light emission codes. So our higher selves knows what goes on in our DNA, what goes on in the codes in the chemical composition of our physical body, and is helping with our friends upstairs or on other planes, it don't matter, to help us transform. On the day of harvest, us graduating, ascending, whatever you want to call it, both our overself and light body merge together to take in the stream of codes for the next level of soul growth based on harmony octave of the overself body with every molecular embodiments. I don't necessarily believe that when we ascend to 4D consciousness, that this is what it's talking about. We are taking our physical bodies for the most part. Many of us will be taking our physical avatars with us to 4D. I feel this speaks more on the higher densities. Some people might traverse 4 because they've already been living in 4 for a long time. They might already be on 5 and they're going to 6. So it doesn't really go into what density, what manner with this statement. But I do believe at one point when we do ascend higher up, not necessarily what's going on now, our bodies will merge with our light bodies, for sure. But it has to be in harmony and in the right octave to transform. Our thoughts gives off a radiation of light. That's how we manifest. Also electrically, which is stored in a light spectrum, which pulsates with harmony, giving restoration to life. It also reprograms itself in the reassembly of meta-material info. So our thoughts are electromagnetic as well and radiate light. So when you continuously try to manifest abundance and whatever have you, you're putting that signal into the spectrum of light and putting it out into the universe. I mean, your words do the same thing. Your words are vibrating frequency. So as you speak, you're speaking it into existence. So our thoughts do the same thing. So be careful what the hell you're thinking. Especially when we ascend, because some of you out there have some dirty heads and dirty minds. Keep those thoughts private. And there's ways to doing that, by the way. And no judgment here. Everybody's entitled to their little filthy head, but guess what? Keep it to yourself. My teeth are loose, guys. I'm sorry. Quote, our envelope of light, bleh. Let's rephrase. Quote, our envelope of light programs all the light forces for the human DNA, RNA. Each will help us to ascend to the next level of creation, end quote from J.J. Hertek. I actually put this statement in my exemption letter. I actually took a large chunk portion of my 7-page exemption letter for that, because I knew the medical wasn't going to be accepted. And I wrote this stuff down. It should be counted. It wasn't, it was denied, but hey, I hope I educated whoever read it. Yeah, you cannot you don't have junk DNA, FYI. There is no such thing. Creator didn't create us. Even if we did fall, come from the fallen, it doesn't matter. It's still created. Why would they put junk in us? There's no such shit. So that RNA helps us ascend. So if you did do this for the sake of whatever have you, and it's okay, no judgment, detox, so that you can ascend. And JJ is not the only one talking about that. There's a lot of other places and books that are speaking very similarly. So just keep in mind, everybody has free will and everybody made a choice, and a lot of those choices were prearranged by you. So don't feel that you did something wrong if that was something you were led to do. Just know if you want to be a part of the ascension, per a few people speaking on it, I'm not the judge, jury, and executioner of who goes to gets ascended, harvested, educated, graduated. I don't have that lot. I know my purpose and what I'm supposed to be doing. Everybody's individual. So this is not the end all be all. I just recommend that those of you who really want to, they're getting into this, but did that, you don't know what you got either. there was batches. So just be mindful that regardless if that's something that you did, there's plenty of detoxing protocols you can do to help you restore that DNA and RNA function in your body so you'll be able to go. Again, is that true? Is it not? I don't know. I hope it is. I hope it's true that everybody gets to the sun, and if not, that was their choice. But I don't want to knock anybody down, and I don't have, creators list of who's being moved up or who's not. That's not for me to know. There are 3 living light codes that we can obtain. Meta matter, which is a positive incarnation. The light grid of evolving soul. Spiritual, physical body of light. So those are the 3. So meta matter, I would believe that would be what we're going to head into next. Some people will be the light grid of evolving soul. So that's some of us who are already knowing that we're light beings and will be in between. And then spiritual, physical, the body of light, and that's like above when you transform, but that's on a higher density in my eyes. At the end of the evolutionary program, if an individual soul's genetic code isn't graduating into the light, that soul must learn through a negative karma acquired through its lifetime to harmonize with love light energy. So I apply that to people who are of the negative polarity that are not being graduated to 4th density negative. I believe that what JJ's trying to say here is that people, who have love and light in their selves, but they're just not graduating, they're not coming along for the ride. They have to learn, and you only literally, and I hate to say this, but we learn by our catalysts. Our soul growth is through catalysts. So negative karma doesn't necessarily mean anything too bad. It's just that the karma that they acquired that's of the negative polarity will be something they need to harmonize with love light energy for the next life that they live. That doesn't mean they're entrapped or something negative bad is going to happen to somebody. That just means that they're going to have a rougher time in life, learning those things through catalysts. So maybe they might have an accident where they're disabled and they're going to have to learn how to accept love and spread the light within their bodies to help them. That's just an example. That doesn't apply to everybody. Quote, in essence, you exist in consciousness death, end quote. Until you are aware of the power of love, which opens up the visual pathway of ascension into indescribable levels of light essence. Your consciousness never dies. Never, ever, 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 ever dies. It continuously goes on and on, my friend. And the awareness of love, unconditional love for everything, opens up a pathway to ascension. And it's a beyond our 3D comprehension of the indescribable levels of light that is emanating from this pathway. Those who do not emanate the light will remain open to the negative polarity entities who need the energies of the evolving species form. So those of us, or anybody who's been attacked, we're not having our bodies being taken over. They're just being affected by these negative polarity, negative beings. But people, I'll give you a good example. This has popped in my head. I live in New York City. And what do you hear on the news constantly? People are being killed. People are dying. People are doing things and then they're not consciously aware of them. There was an article, I don't know the exact story, but I read that the woman did something nefarious and had no recollection of doing it because she wasn't consciously aware she was, but yet her body did it. That's what that is talking about. Because she was probably vibrating so damn low that something jumped in her and did it. I believe that's what's happening in New York and other major cities, that people are so low in their vibration, so out of it, drugged up, what have you, that evil things jump into their essences and control their vehicle. And then they do nefarious things. Not all, some people are just really sick and just want to hurt others. But there are cases of people who are getting possessed. So if you want to come to New York, don't go to Queens or Brooklyn. Staten Island's rather safe, but it is. The Bronx as well is not that safe, depending on the neighborhood. Same thing with Manhattan. Just stay away from the major arteries and you're fine. But that's city, not upstate. Yeah, it's wild what's going on here. And it's just it continues and continues and continues. Who's in control? I call this part the manipulation. Fallen Masters opened what JJ calls the biostratus. Now, I believe JJ is under the firmament stance. The Nephilim forms came to the lower creation. They put out below consciousness to the physical avatars of the Adamic species, that's us, to seal off spiritual fate and hinder the evolution necessary for spiritual evolution. And I've talked about this in the Gray and the Anunnaki series that I have done. We were genetically manipulated. The first, what we want to consider Adam Kadmon, had abilities, had healing modalities, had high vibrations, had very high spiritual understanding and knowledge of the greater universe at large. And then these guys, I'm going to get it on with a human. Oh yeah, and let's create and be incestful. Oh yeah, and here we are. We were manipulated, not just physically, spiritually. And a lot of places and things say the same thing. We were manipulated. We were dumbed down to be an obey slave race. And we fell the trap because we're all doing that right now. most people now are standing up for their sovereignty. Most people now are aware of the duped decades and eons that we've lived that have been falsified and given us false pretense that we were free, which we were never free. We're more enslaved than you can ever imagine. It's just a different type of enslavement. And it's not just the debt slave, it's consciousness. We've been so suppressed, poisoned, dumbed down, manipulated, brainwashed by so many different means. A lot of people still aren't aware of what's going on. They're just going about their everyday existence without caring about humanity at large. And in order to have an ascension pathway, you need to care about everybody with love and light, no matter where or who they are. Remember, every country on this planet, there are really good people that inhabit those places that didn't ask to be born there, and there's no means to move. And there are very incredibly beautiful souls who inhabit those places that are stuck, and we got to care for them. Even the people who are negative, because I bet you most of the time they don't realize either what actually took place. This was meant to cause states of false pseudo-divinity and salvation by means of implying mental liberation. The concept that you are free when you're really not, it's just a decoy. We were cut off from finding the supreme way, which is us seeing the divine within. So everybody keeps looking outside of themselves and looking up where Jesus, where is he? Jesus, are you coming? Because the divine's within. We have to help ourselves individually and externally. Quote, these fallen masters created a hierarchy which was intended to control all religions of the planet in their idolatrous image of God. I'm going to quote JJ again because there's no way I could have rewrote this in any more perfect way. Quote, these fallen masters created a hierarchy which was intended to control all religions of the planet in their idolatrous image of God. So when people tell me to go and find Jesus, no, I'm going to find the consciousness that he left within me in there. Not saying that all religions have been infiltrated to some extent. The fallen masters did that for a reason. And although it's a part of the experiment that we're in, it's to see who's waking up consciously, who's looking for God within, Jesus within, the consciousness that is supposed to arise within us. It's supposed to be all within. We are divine creatures. We are the children of God in this experiment nonetheless, but still we've been hindered. So what else has been hindered? Because if we were manipulated, so was everything else that you know in the material world. Everything. The vibratory frequencies on Earth since the fall are retrogressive evolution, though there is seeding of divine light through the non-fallen to help restore us. And I make a note here, side note, why many wanderers and star seeds were incarnated in waves. The good angels and ascended masters and our galactic friends, multidimensional friends, doesn't matter wherever you think they come from, they exist. Okay. They'll devise the plan to start seeding star seeds and wanderers and people of the light into human incarnations in cycles. And each cycle and each wave of these cycles, the light frequency and the energy would increase. While it would be hard for the star seeds and wanderers back early on to even make any kind of impact, they had to store the knowledge within the earth and understand the frequencies Earth was giving off and understand all the manipulation going on around them. And through each of our carnations, we come up with this better and more knowledge and understanding of how to overcome the negative. So we've been coming in waves. Okay. It might be little blah, blah. I know I wrote it down. It might be here. I'll come back to it if I didn't. I might have to reread it again if I wrote in my notes, but like in 1976-ish, that was a new wave of coming in. There was waves in the 1940s, 50s, and 60s. They were like, I can really consider them just first wave. But then the real waves, because this is now when Earth was starting to actually make its ascension solidified to moving into 4, was in the 70s when JJ wrote this book in and around. So the people that were born in this 1970s era, 80s, so like they inhabit one ray, the 80s babies do another ray, and then the 90s and early 2000s have another ray. And we are the ones right now waking the up and changing the paradigm. And we're all in our, almost some of us 50s, 40s, and 30s, early 20s. It's a big collective right there. Big collective. And we came here to see divine light through the children that are going to inherit this ascension. They're already built in with the DNA upgraded. They're already built in. A lot of the kids have a lot of abilities, but they're not sparked out yet to its fullest because we don't know how to handle them yet. Michael and Uriel descended from the high to help the progeny of Adam retain the light. So those two archangels came down to help us. The 3.6 is an interesting key. Very interesting key. 309 is even more bonkers. Quote, people who understand the visitations of higher intelligence will be moved into these safe areas or chambers of the earth, which will be opened. They will be delivered through the arc of light thrown upon the face of the earth by the higher evolution. Interesting, yesterday I did reading for the eclipse for the star seeds, and during that oracle reading there was star places, like communities formed on the grids of the earth where people of like-minded were supposed to kind of gravitate towards and find, then become centers of teaching and spreading health and knowledge and healing. I find that very interesting. Now, there are a lot of shifting going on the earth right now. We have a lot of earthquakes, we have volcanoes, we have a lot of disruptions going on with the land itself, and the arcs are being activated via, plenty of people are talking about it. Dr. Michael Sell is one of them, Elena Denon, some others. They're talking about the arcs. So whether they're going to deliver us light or not, whether they're going to take us up into the ships, I don't know. Please do, if you're of the good, positive nature up there. Done. Dunskies. They are connected to a meridian of light, which will take one to a higher system of space-time continuum. So I have a feeling this is after fourth density, we learned telethought, telecommunication. We can just traverse space and time. But when we get to a certain stage, I believe that we might go to other places, whether that be the continents beyond the ice wall or outside and zipped of in interstellar other galaxy. I don't know, but hey, it's pretty damn cool to think about. We will ascend to other star systems. So we'll be in bodies of light and will go to spiritual planets, while many will keep their physical form and move to a bio-satellite city. That's what I was just talking about, which JJ says there are advanced kingdoms of physical spiritual domain. So some people will ascend in their light bodies because they're of that time where they don't need a body anymore, that they're going to go to other planets. They're going to be able to share their knowledge. They're going to get knowledge from the inhabitants of that planet, and then they'll combine, hopefully, to become a social memory complex, and or then go to other systems to get more knowledge and gain more wisdom and spiritual attainment, so that this can keep spreading and spreading, and then we don't fall into this paradigm that we've experienced over 75,000 year cycles. And again, I don't think time that we know time to be is correct. Even though, yes, it's linear and we apply it to third density, I really don't think we've been told the right date or time. I think we're way more further than 2022. And I think there's a lot going on with that. So I maybe going to fourth density, maybe, you know, we're building fourth density, perhaps, that will build these little satellite places and like communes, but modernized, so it doesn't have to be hippies hugging trees. And no offense to the people who are into that stuff. I like trees, I hug them too. But I'm very practical. So maybe that could be a place. I don't know. There are intelligent craft upstairs helping with our ascension, taking diagnostic calculations of our bodies, seeing what vehicles are having the codes hit and advance them. The crafts store a lot to help us for the cycles and systems we will go to. I've always said that, and many other people have as well, the Pleiadians, the Andromedans, the Syrians, so many races are upstairs or within our sky because they're cloaked. We don't see them. They're giving us light codes. They're taking our vitals. They are coming and visiting us. There's just so many numerous amounts of ways that these beings are coming and giving us love, light, energy. They're looking to see if what they're doing upstairs is hitting us properly. And then they'll make adjustments to say, hey, this isn't working. And I feel maybe that is why our ascension has been held back for the last couple of years, at least 10 years. We weren't ready, and neither were they. They didn't have the technology, and there was infiltration in that, and they didn't want us being affected. So here we go. We're being rushed in with, I think the Schulman resonance hit like 77 hertz. I think the other day. It's a lot. I know I was up until 3 o'clock in the morning. I couldn't sleep. Could not sleep. Nope. I couldn't sleep. So I was finishing up. I did these notes, and then I was reading some other stuff. And then a nice person got me this for my birthday. It's very interesting. Look at this thing. It's like a textbook. Manly P. Hall. So I thank you for that present. It's a good present. Yeah, I can't wait to dig into those. Can't wait to dig into those. The Brotherhood of Light helps run these craft and satellite systems and must be followed and serve the office of the Christ. Remember, it's an office. There's a government upstairs. It's not inhabited by Jesus Christ, Yeshua. It's held by many different entities that are Christ-like, that preach love and light. Just by the way. There are what are called poachers, which violates the free will of man. They are negative brotherhoods installing robot, non-robot stuff in the universe to kill the free will. And water, and air, and food. There's organic materials and inorganic materials that has been infested in everything that we have. So this is another reason why this has been taking so long to get us to purge our bodies of these things that we can't dodge any of it, to be honest with you. The robotic stuff, yeah, when you do that, that was the agenda, by the way. But the other stuff, the inorganic stuff, was put in a food, water, no matter what. There's nothing, in my eyes, at least, I don't see anything being free from harm. Unless you live in a biodome like Viva La Biodome, that nothing gets in and nothing gets out. You know, until you find the key to this dome. But yeah. Everything in my eyes has been tainted. And it's in us, and there's nothing we can really do besides detox as best as we can. Just watch the water, filter it, but even so, things do get through. I don't think it's a big deal because they're helping us. They're helping our bodies, or they're giving us the codes for our DNA to purge this stuff out. I don't think they're going to leave us helpless, but that has been an agenda for a very long time. When you look to see who owns all the farming, the chemicals that go on farming stuff and crops, and how they treat water and what they put in the water. And then you look to see what components bombs are built made out of, and gases that really don't do good to humans, and that's in the water. Yeah. And then ask yourselves, why does Europe have ingredients in some food, and then the same product in America can have more products in the food? Because we're being poisoned. The light in the sky will be over the gridded areas of the planet. These communities will be beacons of light to help mankind during the transition. Now it puts a lot into perspective for me why that card came out the other day, and to actually know where these gridded areas are around the earth. Are they the meridian points? Are they the chakras? There's chakras all around the world. They're not in every country. Are they those areas? I don't know. I don't know. There's grid points all over the world, different types. I have to investigate more on that, because I'm still very perplexed. If I do have to sell my house and move, where the hell am I going? I don't have any family. I don't have anybody around me. You know, I move to a new city. Yeah, you'll find friends and everything, but it's not easy with my set of circumstances just to up, chuck, and move. And, you know, if I fall down like an old lady, and I have done this and can't get the hell up, because I've done that too, I have the means right now that call my neighbor and have her come and help me. I don't have that in another place. And I don't trust the medical system at this moment in time. So I don't know. We have Christ crystal in our bodies. Well, some of us will, who will be delivered from earth in the physical form. I doesn't go into in the book where this Christ crystal might be. I have a feeling it's the pineal gland. Which that would make sense, because that's the consciousness we're trying to achieve. And I'm just going to put this out there. This is a highly, very religious book. It brings up science and biochemistry, and it's talking about entities outside of ourselves that we're told doesn't exist, but they exist, and JJ says it. But he's very much into God in Christ. It's just not in the way that you would expect. So anybody that's listening to me and it's like, oh, no, the book is very much showing you the Hebrew, showing you the Sanskrit, showing you the light language, explaining to you there is a God and there is existence, there's a government upstairs, Michael and Uriel, the whole 9 yards, it's there. It's just not what you're used to. It's, again, Enoch, read the book of Enoch. I've read it on my channel. The same entity that came to JJ. Now this is very interesting. I posted a picture on, I want to say Facebook, of Mount Etna erupting, and the image looked like a phoenix rising from where the person took the picture. It was a gorgeous picture. And when I read this next, I don't know if this is a sign from universe or not, but it's a very good sign. Spring forth the firstborn generation, the phoenix rising symbol, the wear the physical body of Christ, and will traverse space in the light vehicles. That will be the emblem of people who will be getting their light bodies. The phoenix rising from the ashes, rebirthing anew. The Ark of the Covenant, to join other star systems, intelligences as co-citizens of the heavens. Can only assume what the Ark of the Covenant really is. Key 319. The ascension avatars, that's us, with the codes and programs installed in our biochemistry, that's our bodies, will go from material worlds to complex structure of the cosmos. The shifting grids worldwide will occur. New places on the earth will open up. I believe this is Atlantis coming back and Lemuria coming back. The holy books will be restored. Lots written in store. Sacred language, the light language, will be revealed to us again. So the false structures of history and religion will crumble, and the true teachings of what we are will be revealed. Through our physical dimensionality, we may be privy to see the dimensions of the light open to us. We're going to be doing that very soon, within the next 2 years. So buckle up. The truth is coming. There are people working right now from the books taken and scrolls taken from the Vatican that were hidden for decades and centuries. And people are working on it, deciphering, decoding, and putting it into whatever language it needs to go into to be its purest form. But it's also light language. There's a lot of people who know light language. They sing it, they frequent, it's vibing off of them. That's the original language. It's light language. It's nothing more. It's not even spoken. We can sing it and we can invoke it, but a lot of this stuff is up there. And the history and religion are all going to crumble because it was all built on false indoctrination of obey, 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 bend, bow, obey. You don't need to bow to anybody. You need to look up. You don't submit to anybody. When you are a part of creation, when you are a fractal of God and a fractal of Yeshua, you are of them. You don't bow. You don't obey. You rise and you fight with love. Quote, you who behold the wisdom of God are the guides and stepping stones for the whole earth, end quote. Because you know the real story of how we came. And that's still being uncovered. Many of us are very close to uncovering those things, but there's a lot that goes into that. Collective. advancement of the soul. The social memory complex will help gain the higher chakra levels. Now, this is what when I was going back in the time dates, 7 chakra enlightenment, and it's, I put it in 3 waves. 1976, 6th chakra. Oh, that would be the 7th chakra. 6th chakra, 1980s. 5th and 4th chakra, 2004 era. Entering in new programs. Those after will wait for the earth changes to reset. Quote, this means that man will realize the higher evolution already in his midst, beyond his conventional time perception. Love and light must be realized. Our soul advancement would speed up when Michael and Christ helps our spiritual gifts. Well, it's on freaking super speed right now. Super speed. More and more people are waking up, not necessarily to the religious truths, but to the history of what went wrong. Seriously, we are being sped up. Our 12 vibratory pathway in our physical vehicles will be put on or turned on. So that's our chakra system. We have the 7 that we need to activate, and most of us have all 7, at least activated. And it also relates to the tribes of the ancients. America will be the restored area for programming of the will of the Father. JJ calls it Altia America, Altia, the hub for regeneration. He dubs this the New Jerusalem, America. But reading this from Manly B. Hall and then seeing how history was been duped again by us, because the ancient Greeks were actually near the Great Lakes, up very couple of hours away from here. There was wisdom here that didn't get passed on. And a lot of things in history were not told, was not sent to us. Whether you want to believe it was Christopher Columbus, but really it was Leif Erikson. But then even like in the ancient days, there was Atlantis, and there was really not a huge ocean to traverse to get to America, what we would call America. You can hop on an island and hop over from Africa to the United States in a jiffy. And the same with China to California, and Hawaii happens to be the last remnants of that. So think really hard how a lot of things have been lied and given to us that were lies. What is called the true people of Israel incarnate into all races and creeds, so that the spark of righteousness is through the world. Israel is a project, FYI. Israel is all of us. There is no Gentile. There is no one begotten race. We're all children of God. All of us. We are all children. of God, making us all Israel. And we are of one species of many beautiful different races, but we're all human. And you can't take any of that away from any of us that are of the living light. We are all human. So this division that they keep trying to feed you, ignore it, because we're all about love and light, and it is all of us who matter. Every single human being. And even the hybridized people that also have human DNA in them matter as well. They are very much a part of us as we are a part of them. So just take into account that this includes all of us. The war of light versus dark. The ETs have no protection in inner earth. They cannot hide with the negative agendas no more. Michael is on it. And so the Brotherhood. And so is Earth Alliance. And so are the Guardians. Do you think Michael could be reincarnated right now in a human form? How about all the other ancients? If it worked for the evil that they can reincarnate their essences into human bodies, just like the starseeds are not of Earth, they're of other star systems incarnating in a human soul, in a human avatar on Earth. Don't think that these people don't play the same dirty game. The negative entities were reincarnating themselves in other forms. The good guys took that. They were like, ooh, took a play at that. If that's going to work for you, it's going to work for us too. Could you imagine who's been reincarnated and who's here right now? The rest of 319 goes into Gog and Magog, the earthquakes and grid changes. Other planets have similar experiences like ours and go through a purification process before the quantum leap forward. Now, that's what we're experiencing right now. We're moving up in consciousness, we're moving up in dimensionality. Gaia, Mother Earth, whatever you want to call Terra, is also doing the same thing. Gaia is consciousness. Earth is moving up in dimension as well, and has been for a long time, but now it's like really coming to a head. And we're going to see like the storms, the flooding, the fires. They've been happening the last 4 to 5 years. Things are just being desolated and wow. Right? So things are happening, but the earth is purifying herself. And this is the quantum leap forward that we all need to take. Those are of us conscious, aware of this leap, will be making that leap forward. I mean, we have help. They're helping us. So there's nothing to be afraid of. And don't feel that anything that he is saying is in any way, shape, or form of the fear vibration. Absolutely not. This is just to inform you. Right? So if you feel that you're not in a safe place, consider looking your options. The government of light. We are tested to see if we have unconditional love for others and humanity. We are being tested. We're always tested. That's a part of our soul. And it's contract, arrangement, whatever you want to call it. We're given catalysts in our life. We're given situations in our life. They're not easy. They're very, they're difficult. And in third density, 3D human awareness, it's not easy when someone does something horrific to you to forgive them and to move on. It doesn't happen like that. That's not how our emotions were programmed. But now we have to go through this deprogramming process of really understanding what was done to us, and then really hard and go in your brain and try to reprogram your brain. It's not easy. It takes a long time, and I don't think anybody has perfected that yet. JJ is helping with that book. L. Ron Hubbard had that method in Dianetics. These things are not easy to reprogram and program ourselves into understanding that these things are just put in our path to help us. The bad, the good, the ugly, it all is a part of this third dimensionality that we are experiencing. And when we go to 4, whatever that looks like, whatever 5 looks like, it's going to be very similar. It's literally the World of Warcraft. You start out at level 1, you do a few quests, you get some gear. You hit level 2. Ooh, a new land opened up to you. Now you can go to a new land and see and explore and find your way. And then you go all the way up and up and up and up. And you get bigger gear, and you get more food, and you get more bag space, and you get all these experiences. And then you could start riding on a mount, and then you could start flying. And you could do all these things. And then you go to outer space, and you could portal, and you could do all this crazy shit. So each level we go to, we'll have new experiences and new things to learn, and new catalysts to test us to see if we are in the righteousness of God. So it'll be okay. Keep your faith. And again, there's no one religion that has it right. They were all infiltrated to some extent. Know that within you, you are a divine light being. You are the essence of love and light. That you will do the work so that you can ascend, and that time is now. The next 2 to 3 years is a very critical point for many people. So start doing the work. Look out for the changes. Look out for these light grids, and look out for these centers that might be springing up. I don't know where, when, how, who, what. I don't know when these arcs are coming alive. They are already ticking. They're working on them. The militaries are around the world are finding more and more of these arcs, and their ships. So we all have to be more consciously aware of places, peoples, and things, so that we can come with our get with our tribes. And it's not like the 12 tribes. You could think of it like that, but you don't have to. Find the tribe. And we're slowly doing that. I mean, we're looking at and finding communities of people that we resonate with, that are giving information out, that are like-minded. And those are the people that we can all come together and help each other out, bounce ideas off each other. That's how we learn. So that was a lot. That was 306, key 309, and key 319 from the Keys of Enoch. Very much about ascension, how it's going to happen, all these changes going on in the world, all these paradigms. Again, it's easier to read those sections than me kind of giving a summary of it. But I think it's very important right now that the knowledge gets out, that people are aware of what is going on, not just what you see with your two eyes, but there's a lot that you cannot see with your two eyes that are still existing and happening. So just be aware of that. Be kind to yourself. If you feel off, just go within. Love yourself. And know that everything is going to be okay. And we're going to all make a difference in this world. We're all going to put our puzzle pieces together. But we have to start doing the inner work first. So let's continue. Sending each and every one of you love and light. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your Sunday. My prayers to everybody in Kansas that were affected by the tornadoes. Be weather aware for the next couple of days in the plains, down south. It's going to happen again. Until the next one, guys.